And which sectors in India will do well? You obviously said
Every
healthcare.
sector India will do well. Which sector will do well or not do well will depend upon the sector, not on the country. I
But
think
in
the
India,
country will do well because lot of strength we have got in terms of science, technology, HR. I think we have started moving ahead. For the last 10 years, we have done wonderful. Except last 2 years, we have suddenly had a problem of our GDP growth coming down less than 5. But it will go to 3 or 2 or 1 for 1 or 2 years, and it will be back 10 to 10. I'm pretty clear India will be GDP 10 in another 5 years, at least 2 years.
let me ask you another two questions. And I know Abhinav may not agree with these two questions, but one, the way Prime Minister Modi has led, and it is very easy to criticize. I don't think it's the time to criticize. I think he's done an outstanding job. Of course, there are things he can do better on economy, we have expectations, all that. But in saving human lives, in leading from the front, communicating, engaging, and then helping, in while he turned a, let's say, a forced initiative into an opportunity. The way we provided, a certain, drug to the US, to other parts of the world. So, do you think Modi, though we have another month, 2 months, hopefully 6 months before we can come to a verdict on how the country and how the government and how the Prime Minister handled the COVID. But do you think looks like Modi has really done a good job? And do you think he should get a Nobel Peace Prize? That's my first question. Second thing is, there will be a reconstruction needed, not in the way it was, like, Vikramaditya built a new India. Do you think post-COVID Modi will build a new India where the Indian traditional strengths, and let me talk of Ayurveda, let me talk of Ayush, they were not considered mainstream in the way, because, if you do yoga and your respiratory system is good, you can increase your immunity and deal with COVID and everything better. So do you think there will be a new India, and can we call Modi the new Vikramaditya?
Yeah. Now let me answer to your first question. I think
And it's a serious question.
before telling our Prime Minister very powerfully managed it, let me tell what went wrong for Trump and what went right for Mr. Modi. Trump had a calamity in hand because he was handling old population, and it was high infection and too much of stressful situation for him. As such, politically also he was facing a lot of turmoil. India had a cool, very composed Prime Minister, and India Prime Minister was lucky to have a mean age of Indians 28. And all those parameters which I have said has supported our Prime Minister. And if you think the verdict is still not out, let me tell you, and let us congratulate Prime Minister. The verdict is out. Today we have lost only 500 plus individuals, and it is safely landed. Our flight has very safely landed. Now, how do we manage the post landing, and how are we going to handle it is much easier to manage than what crisis would have pushed us into a huge calamity and distress. So if you ask me, the verdict is almost out. I call it as exit polls are well done, and we are very safe, and we must congratulate for the country of India first, and for the Prime Minister next. And the Prime Minister has taken a very bold decision to put the entire country in a lockdown, because today's verdict is fortunate. So many parameters we understand. 20 days back, it was a lot of doubt how this virus will be different from the rest of the countries. It might also collapse us, and it was good we were panicked. But right now it is time for the government to do an unlocking, which I call as calibrated, phased, monitored, and controlled unlocking, so that industries will come back and do what they are meant to do. So if you ask me, the verdict is out, and we must congratulate Government of India, led by the Prime Minister, and all will have to feel relaxed. All financial wizards to industrial wizards to everybody can relax that we are safer. May not be safest. We will still lose some lives, but not the ratio what you call as death per million will not be even 1/10 of Western world. So that's verdict is done. Now, what will be the phase number 2 post coronavirus? I think whether the Prime Minister truly pushes or not, I'm pretty sure he knows what it is. He had come up with Ayushman just a year back, but he will also push three things which are very vital. One is wellness, another is nutrition, third one is fitness. So these three are going to be playing a very huge role. Anybody who does business in these three areas are likely to get a lot of push, a lot of what you call as tailwinds, and will move very fast. So Modi also has been practicing, pushing towards the traditional measures of pain relieving, better health, better immunity, better flexibility, better fitness, better strength. I think yoga is wonderful. Yoga will do a lot of things. So which industry to be given priority will not be just one individual's decision. I think the group of ministers, group of the advisors in the ministry will tell which one would make India A, strong, B, powerful, and gives long-term prosperity. So we have got time. Like I said, the big will have bigger challenges. India will have smaller challenge. In per capita income list, India is very, very small, $2,000 per annum, whereas US is $40,000 per annum, 20 times. But they will find it extremely difficult to sustain. India will slowly and steadily go up. I am expecting lot of restructuring politically, administratively, because it is an opportunity for us to rework, experiment, and explore and find out what works better for us, and then continue it rather than continuing the old vehicle, old system, and old hierarchies.
Abhinav,
Yes, sir. I have nothing to add.
you want?
No.
So I want to ask you my last question. In the industry, whether it's SME, whether it's business owners which are mid-size, large size, there is an expectation, especially in the SME and the business segment, of an economic package from the government. If you look at UK, the UK government pretty much wrote a blank check for the economy and said, if your employer is unable to pay you, we'll pay you 80% of the salary. So it took the load of the employer. Here, while the government has rightly said, don't lay off people, try and look at them, and RBI has given liquidity measures. 3 weeks back, the FM had given a set of measures for the government. There is a direct benefit transfer to a lot of people. The government has done its bit, but still there is an expectation. The Business World cover story last week said that, at least at that point, 10,000 crores are required. 10 lakh crores are required from the government. Now, what do you think the government can do to help entrepreneurs, SMEs, and the industry and economy?
Anurag, again, this Padosi comparison, it will not work. Padosis were rich. Padosis have huge reserves, and all these developed markets did not have any challenge in giving $1,000 or $5,000 for even every common man. In India, it's not easy even to give a $50 to every poor man. So India has challenges. India doesn't have a capability to support in a large scale. We can't compare, US gave 2 trillion, 3 trillion, why not we? Not that simple. Let's agree with that, number one. Number two, I think all businessmen have to find how to restart even without government supporting in any way. We should be prepared, because it is our duty to find out our own way of doing. When I came to Mumbai, I didn't expect anyone would support. I came with kind of face the worst. But then I was lucky to get a lot of supports from various quarters, but it will come. I think government will subsidize electricity. Government will subsidize a lot more what you call as custom duties and various other things. Government doesn't have money to roll out, but government would help to people by, or the MSMEs by giving loans without interest, or some waive off in that loans also. But I don't think we should expect that government will compensate for all the pains which we had undergone. We will undergo for next couple of quarters. That is impossible. It is too huge budget for government. I don't think government has that kind of money. Though, dil mange more. Everyone thinks we should get more. And everybody can ask for more. I think asking is nothing wrong. Everybody, the crying child only gets the milk. So everybody can cry. But I don't think we have got that much of money to really support. Let me tell you, nothing has gone wrong. All of us have slept for a week, for a month or 2 or 3. And let me tell you, all India Inc. and their employees, what is that they should do. Guys, for a month or 2, depending upon when your industry is back to fully operating, you have been working from home. You didn't go to office. Trust me, once you are back to your office, don't go home. If 1 quarter you couldn't work, doesn't matter. If you can work for 3 quarters without going home, you don't need any government support, and you will be back with what you were in January 2020 when you are in April 2021. So it's a matter of hard work. It is possible. Every failure is an opportunity, and every failure gives you a new energy, new courage to work on. And I am pretty sure government will help. Government will not help much, but every organization can again stand on its own and run. And if you cannot stand on your own and run, you don't have a business to run. Trust me.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you, Anurag.
Thank you, Dr. Velumani. We enjoyed talking to you. So
Thank you.
I hope our audiences can learn from your experiences and your suggestions. And on that happy note, in 20 years, India will be the largest economy in the world. And, in April 2021, we'll be back to a new normal of growth. We will end this interview, and we look forward to better times post-COVID. Thank you, Dr. Velumani.
Thank you, Anurag.